Yeah, I think I'm someone who's had to learn about learn how to deal with that, learn about myself. Um, cricket's a game where, or batting specifically, is a game where even the best in the world fail more than they succeed. So I think it's coming to terms with that and really understanding that. And if you can stay consistent, to the way you play, and consistent to yourself, I think that'll help in the way you deal with things. As I say, I'm not the best, in the world at having to deal with that. I've not been great at it for my whole life. I don't really deal with failure well, but I've had to learn how to deal with it better. And yeah, again, coming to terms that we're in a sport and in a profession where failing is quite common. So yeah, you have to be able to move on from it and be ready for the next opportunity that comes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stumped, a podcast designed to allow me to waste the time of people who have better things to do than sit around and chat cricket. And today I'm joined by Mitch van Buuren. Mitch, thank you for joining me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting morning.
I hope it will be. Um, the the first thing I had in mind just before we sat down for this was what happened to your bowling? I mean, I look at the stats from under 13 to 2018, you bowl very constantly, regular matches, and then it just sort of fades away. It appears now and then this year, I see you bowled in 4 matches. Is this the return of Mitch the bowler?
Uh, Hopefully, I don't know. Yeah, I think obviously, as a youngster growing up, I bowled a lot and I really enjoyed it. Um, and then as I sort of got into the professional setup, um, yeah, I guess I'd probably just spend more time practicing my batting and hitting more balls. And obviously, being a leg spinner, um, it's a skill that you need to put a lot of work in, a lot of hours. So I guess naturally it sort of faded away as I was sort of just hitting more balls. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's gone. It's something that I still want to do. So yeah, um, just got to obviously get the work done. It's not something you can just expect to rock up and just do it. But yeah, I would say there's still a bowling fire burning inside me. So I'd like to have the ball in my hand still.
Mm. And most kids want to be pace bowlers, and they do try to run in and bowl until someone tells them, "Ooh, I don't think you're fast enough." When did you start bowling spin? Your leg is. Did you ever bowl pace as a youngster?
Yeah, I did bowl pace as a youngster. Probably until I was about 11 years old. And I went to a provincial trial. I was there to bowl pace, and when I got there, I don't think I'd bowl leg spin before in my life, but I just decided at the trial that I wanted to bowl some leggies. I couldn't even tell you the reason behind it, but then I did, and yeah, I bowled them nicely and ended up making the team to bowl my leggies. So yeah, probably when I was about 10 or 11 years old, that's when the leggies started.
Hmm. And when we look at that young period of you as a youngster, one of the interesting things I notice is you take a FOFA at under 13, the first recorded match that I have here with me. You take a FOFA and then a half century. I think it was a provincial week. Um, what are the other milestones that preceded that one?
Um, sure, that was probably obviously quite a long time ago. I think there was probably some milestones through my career at school and in the provincial teams I played for. I think probably the highlights for me is um, taking a forfeit on S under 19 debut in Sri Lanka, and winning man of the match there in a winning series. Um, yeah, I think that's one that probably stands out for me in my time at school.
Mm. So let's dial back and look at where did this all start? Where did the passion, when were the seeds sown for Mitch, the cricketer? Because it had to start somewhere.
Yeah, I guess ever since I can remember. Um, Lucky enough that I have a brother a few years older than me. So growing up when I was really young, he would always sort of have the ball and a bat around, and that gave me someone to play with, I guess, and somebody a bit older than me and better than me. So I could always sort of look up to him and try to get to the level that he was at, even though he was a few years older than me. So I think I have a lot to thank my brother for. Um, yeah, as I say, growing up, it's naturally in me that I just wanted to be, doing something with a bat and a ball. So obviously, really blessed that I had my brother, and that he gave me somebody that I could do it with, and somebody that I could, I'm quite a competitive guy, so I was always trying to beat him and be better than him. Um, so yeah, that was instilled in me when I was super young.
I went back and watched an old interview that you did, and the the one thing I picked up there was your house was the place with the net, the place with the backyard net, and it got me thinking. Did the net attract a lot of other kids from the neighborhood? And how much time did you and your brother spend in there just battling?
Yeah, two questions there. I think the one about the other kids, I wouldn't say it really did. I guess a couple of the kids around maybe came in, popped in. Certainly my friends who would come over. Um, but yeah, my brother and I, if I think back to my primary school days, every single day is just like so excited to go home because I'd have an afternoon in the net with my brother, and that was my absolute favorite time of the day. Um, Whatever it was, garden cricket. We sort of used the net for all things. We made it like a soccer goal, some rugby poles, um, a hockey astro. So it was amazing to have that net, and we still have it at home. Um, we could do anything we wanted in there. But yeah, as I say, every single afternoon after school, we would spend hours in that net.
Mm. And was the plan for you always to go to CAS?
As soon as my older brother went to Cares, then yes, 100%. I was always gonna follow where he went. As I say, he was a good role model for me growing up. We have an older cousin, Graham van Buuren, who plays for Gloucestershire in England. Um, and for us, we growing up, there was this for a large part of our childhood, we were gonna almost go where he went. He went to Pretoria Boys High. Um, so yeah, my brother was close to going there, and then sort of just before the decision needed to be made, he decided to go to Cares. And from the time he stepped foot in Cares, I was always gonna go there.
And there's something quite interesting that I that I noticed. You play your representative cricket for the Lions, as it should be. You are from the region. And then you go to Tux. And got me thinking, okay, Tux, varsity, okay, makes sense. And then you join the Northerns circuit. You play a bit there, and then you come back to the Lions. What informed those moves?
Yeah. So in my final year of school, there was decisions to be made where I was going to go after school. Um, my cousin, again, I'll bring him up, Graham, had gone to Tux and had been through that system, and it's obviously, a really strong cricketing structure that side. Um, so that was the first thought in the thought process. That was the first, priority was a good cricket structure for me to go and do my work in. And at that stage, we also sort of had the the studying at the back of our minds, to get something under the belt, a degree or something like that. So Tux just seemed to be a great spot. Obviously, like I say, my cousin had been through there. He was well liked there, and yeah, it seemed like a great place to go, and it was a good place to go. I don't regret any moves that I made. I think it was a good learning part of my career. And then yeah, while I was there, unfortunately, there wasn't really space in the Northerns team. I was young, but obviously I was hungry to play cricket and be out on the field. And while I was in the Northerns structures, I was actually again quite lucky where the captain and the coach um, came to me and said, we're trying to find a way for you to play. We just don't have any space. Would you like to explore a loan move somewhere so you can get some time out in the middle? Um, and obviously, I wanted that. So, um, discussing with my parents and my agent, the first place we were going to go was always going to be back home. So we approached the Lions, and yeah, they were really happy to have me back on loan. Um, so came back, and first game back, got my, probably another, or definitely another highlight in my career. I hit a 200 at the Wanderers, and yeah, ever since then, after that season, they signed me at the Lions, and I've been back home ever since.
I was trying to build to that 200, because I looked at the score sheet. No one else made 50. The highest was 48 or something like that. And you smash 200 from what is it, 159 deliveries. And it's a list A match. And I'm thinking, you had to be on fire to do that. How much of that innings do you remember?
I actually remember quite a bit about that innings. Yeah, special day for me, really good day. It was nice to have my parents there, my biggest supporters. So it was cool to do it in front of them and back at the Wanderers, which is now my home. Um, yeah, it was amazing. I was supposed to actually just all the stars aligned for me that day. I was supposed to bat number 5, and Ompile Ramela was batting number 4. And just before the second wicket fell, he called me. He said, "Just pad up. I need to go see the physio or something in case something happens. You might need to go in next." Um, and as I'm busy padding up, getting ready, a wicket falls, so I had to go in number 4. And then yeah, it was just like hard to replicate in innings like that. Everything just went my way. Yeah, saw the ball beautifully, moved all, found the middle of the bat pretty much all day. So, yeah, I remember quite a bit about it, and that's a really special memory for me.
The the one thing that also stands out for me, because you mentioned Ompile, is he was run out, and maybe it was you guys trying to put the pressure on the opposition, running ones and twos as much as possible. But Are you involved in a lot of runouts yourself?
No, don't think I'd say that, to be honest. I run super hard between the wickets and make sure that I'm always pushing my batting partner. But no, I think I'm calculated enough to not be involved in too many runouts now.
Oh, that's cool. Um, let's let's now look at the lessons you learned while you were at Tux, because I think everybody knows that it's one of the better developmental unions when it comes to varsity. They have such a strong system. They have produced so many top flight players who have gone on to do well even at international level. What were some of the things you learned there that you took when you went back to the Lions?
Yeah, we've mentioned it. It's obviously a really solid structure there. Um, and I think what's really good about it is they bring um a professional environment into a varsity space. So, you come out of school and you get exposed to a professional environment straight away, which not a lot of young kids coming out of school get that exposure. Some guys' journeys are different. They have to start playing, through the clubs. They got to, get to the professional scene through club cricket and performances at club level, and they don't maybe necessarily have that training structure where they can go every day. That feels like a professional space, and I think that's what they do really well at Tux. As I mentioned, you come out of matric as a 18-year old, and you get into a space where you're training like a professional cricketer already. So I guess it also helps your mindset. You're in that space already that I'm training like a pro and I'm doing all the things that professional cricketers do. So mentally that also helps you, and it's obviously just really good for your cricket. You're a student, but you are training every morning, every day of your life. There's fitness programs. You're in the gym. You're batting and bowling. So yeah, I'll just say it again. It's a really good professional space for a young kid coming out of school.
And what were you studying at Tux?
I did sports science for a year. I wasn't 100% sure what I was keen to study. So I started with sports science. And then the following year, I changed over to do education. So to get a teaching degree. Fortunately, that didn't work out because that was the year I moved back on loan to the Lions. So once I made that move back, unfortunately, I stopped the studies at that.
And at what point was cricket the goal for you to to say, okay, it was at this point where I realized I have a proper shot at making this as a profession?
I guess the dream was always in me from when I was 6, 7 years old. Really, that young. The dream was always to just play cricket as much as I can because it's something I've always enjoyed doing and loved doing. So the dream was always alive, and I think I probably started to realize that I could do it. I think maybe when I got selected for SA under 19. Obviously, in high school, it was always in the back of my mind, and then played provincial cricket throughout the years and did well. So I started to sort of realize that I could do it. But I think the moment is when I made SA under 19. I thought, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I actually believe that I do have a career in this.
Right now, you are one of the leaders within the Lion side. If I'm not mistaken, I think you captained the T20 side. And it's not the first time. I think I noticed you also captaining last year. How have you taken to captaincy?
I absolutely love captaincy. It's something that I've done my whole life. I'd captain all my school sides growing up. I'd captain the Cares first team side. Um, Couple provincial teams I played in growing up, I was a captain of as well. I captained S under 19 as well for a series. So it's not something I'm new to. I captained when I went to Tex as well. So it's something that I'm very accustomed with. I've been doing it all my life. It's obviously a new challenge doing it at a big union like the Lions. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, but it's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy the responsibility. I enjoy being, the guy in charge. So yeah, I think I've taken to it well. Unfortunately, this T20 comp didn't really go our way, so it doesn't it doesn't look great on my captaincy record, but um that's besides the point. I think it's an honor being able to captain the Lions franchise. Something I part of those dreams growing up as a kid was for me to be the Lions captain. So yeah, it's really cool that I get to live that.
One of the things that interests me when it comes to captains is to understand what sort of a captain you are. Like, there's some guys, they follow the ball. Opposition better hits into that space, they put a fielder there because they're thinking maybe it'll help me plug a gap. Some guys like to set funky fields. You an unexpected fielder, maybe a short cover or something like that. What is your approach?
I think it's pretty simple. Firstly, I'm quite a quiet guy, so I prefer leading by example in my actions and the way I play the game. And then, yeah, tactically, when it comes to that, I think it's pretty much about just staying on my feet. We do a lot of you know um, analysis work with our analyst. So we have a pretty good idea on each player's different strengths and where they'll be looking to score and play. So it's nice to have that going into a game. So as soon as somebody comes into bat, we sort of already have a plan. But yeah, obviously that can change. That can change on any day, especially in T20 cricket. Um, but yeah, I like to first get a feel for what the bowler is thinking and what the bowler wants to do, the plan for the field that they might have. And yeah, because ultimately, if that's what they want to do and that's what they're thinking is, that's probably what they're going to execute the best. So whatever they wanting to do, and then I'm there to just sort of assist in that plan and help out with any small field changes or different tactics that we could work with. But yeah, I like to sort of leave it in the bowler's hands. They're the one who's running and bowling the ball. It's not me. So I'm just there to sort of help and maybe give input if I think it's maybe not the best plan for that, specific moment or time in the game. But yeah, as I say, ultimately the bowler's running in, so he's the one who's got to know what he wants, and I'm just there to sort of assist and give some input where I can.
Mhm. We are we are looking up. We are looking forward to the SA20 just now. I think in a couple of weeks, 3 4 weeks. And how have you enjoyed at that time it, in Paul?
Yeah, it was amazing. This year obviously something different. I'm going to the Sunrisers, but yeah, if I think back on my time with the Paul Royals, it was awesome. I had three amazing seasons there. It's a beautiful place down there in Paul. I think I got to experience the fans and the people of Paul who were amazing. The vibes were always good down there. They always uh, they always came out in numbers and supported us. I played with some really amazing players. and made some great friends as well with people around the world. So, I only have positive memories when I think back on my time with the Paul Royals, and I'm really grateful for those 3 seasons. Um, yeah, it was a good time.
When when we look at while looking at your former franchise, the Royals, one of the things is their pitches very different from what you grew up with here in the High Veld. And so, was it difficult, or you just had a game that is adaptable for you to be able to flourish? Because my memory tells me that you were one of the important players for them, particularly in that middle order. How did you adapt your game to the conditions?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I think the conditions down in Paul are certainly very different to what I've grown up playing here in Joburg. But yeah, I think luckily, I'm blessed with my ability to play. I feel like my strength is playing against spin, which is which is always been the case since I was younger. I think I just enjoy facing spinners more, and I've learned to sweep well. I played a lot of hockey growing up, so I learned to sweep and reverse sweep and manipulate the ball against the spin as well, and that's obviously sort of the game plan or the game that suits Paul well. A lot of spin gets bowled down there. The field is quite big, so there's a lot of like pockets and pockets of space around the field. Um, so yeah, I obviously got the opportunity to play there for the Lions before the SA20 was even a thing. So sort of got a feel for how the conditions play down there, and then learned as I went with the Paul Royals. I'm grateful that I got a lot of opportunities to play. So just learned with each experience. As I mentioned earlier, I played with some really good players who were there to assist me as well and help me in different situations and help me with the way I think about it and playing, in different conditions down there. And yeah, I think it was a great learning curve for me in my journey.
This is very interesting. You raised an antenna here. Um, Besides the hockey, what else can you attribute to your ability to face spin? Because a lot of guys struggle against spin, but you have this ability against it. Uh, you say from early on, was it because of the contest you had with your brother? Was it the kind of surfaces you played when you were at school? What do you think when you look back right now and we try to make sense of this? What you think is the reason why you, as a high valued boy, are so good against spin?
Yeah, I think again, probably got quite a bit to do with my brother as well. In playing around in the garden in the net. We're always trying different ways of you know bolt our left arm spin, right arm spin, leg spinners. So I got to face all different kinds of it when I was young, and it was obviously very like it was in like very informal. We were just messing around in the garden, but probably teaching me a lot as I was growing up. Um, about watching the ball, watching which way the seam's going, watching the hand to see if he's bowling like a googly or whatever. So a lot to learn from him as I was growing up, and I think also being a spin bowler, I think that's maybe also helped um, in one way or another. I think it definitely hasn't done any harm to the way I've see spin when I bat. I think yeah, being able to watch the ball closely and watch the seam, and yeah, I think I've just learned growing up in different environments that I've been in.
And now, looking forward to your move to Gqeberha. You are now part of the Sunrisers. What are you looking forward to? Well, there's the band, naturally, which will bring a lot of hiss to the stadium. But what else do you hope to achieve when you get there?
Yeah, it's a new start for me. It's a new opportunity, which is really exciting. Going to a team that's had success. They've obviously done really well in the comp, so I'm looking forward to being in that environment. And obviously, AD Burrell's a successful coach. Russell Domingo, our Lions coach, is also there. So I'm surrounded by good coaching staff that I've worked with. I've worked with Russell for a number of years now, so it'll be good to be in that space with Russell and AD. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's a team that's won before, so hopefully we can do it again. That's quite exciting. St George's Park is a great stadium. When we play there for the Lions, I always have good memories of playing there. It's a lovely stadium to play cricket at. And from my experience of going there in the SA20, the atmosphere is epic. So looking forward to that sort of being a home environment, where it's the band is going and the stadiums are packed and they really do get behind the the Sunrisers. The Orange Army is a really good, you know, great fan base. So I think there's a lot that comes together that I'm looking forward to.
One of the things that I'm particularly interested in is dealing with form, you know, because as I like to say, cricket is cyclical. You're on top today, you might not be on top tomorrow. That's the nature of the beast. How do you deal with those moments when you can't get the ball off the square? No matter what you try, you might be hitting it properly in the nets, but you get out in the middle, things just don't work out for you. How do you deal with those moments?
Yeah, I think I'm someone who's had to learn about learn how to deal with that, learn about myself. Cricket's a game where, or batting specifically, is a game where even the best in the world fail more than they succeed. So I think it's coming to terms with that and really understanding that. And if you can stay consistent, to the way you play, and consistent to yourself, I think that'll help in the way you deal with things. As I say, I'm not the best, in the world at having to deal with that. I've not been great at it for my whole life. I don't really deal with failure well, but I've had to learn how to deal with it better. And yeah, again, coming to terms that we're in a sport and in a profession where failing is quite common. So yeah, you have to be able to move on from it and be ready for the next opportunity that comes.
You say you don't deal with failure very well, and that got me interested because now I'm wondering, how do you react to you've played a you've miscued the ball, get out to a catch, you misread the length, you go out. How do you react? Are you one of those guys who wants to punch a hole in the wall, or
Yes.
do you go back into yourself and you ruminate over that a lot? How do you react to situations like that?
Oh. Um. Yeah. Growing up, probably a lot of holes in the wall. Uh, uh, I have been that sort of. I have been that type of guy. Yeah. Get quite angry with myself. But yeah, I think as I've gotten older, it's a bit better. I'm obviously really disappointed every time I go out. Nobody wants to go out. I deal with it probably a bit better if it's a good ball or it's something that's not really in my control. But I think if I give it away, probably when I get quite hard on myself, and maybe just sit in my own thoughts and feelings for a while and just try and get through it all. But yeah, never happy when I go out.
Mm. And there is the issue of dealing with pressure. Like it's a natural aspect of the game. It's competitive. There's 11 guys competing against you, and you're out there in the middle. What do you do? What do you tell yourself, if you tell yourself anything? What do you do to keep yourself on a level plane so that you deal with the pressure around you?
Yeah, I think uh, th- that's a good question. There's pressures in every game that you play in. Um, I play in SA20 game, and if I play in a club cricket match for old age, I think there's pressures in both games, different pressures, but the pressures are both there. And yeah, it's just about, again, I said, saying staying true to me, almost playing cricket the way I played it when I was 7 years old in the backyard with my brother, because that's what's made me enjoy my cricketing journey so much. That little boy back then, and yeah, I think when it gets when the moment's quite big and the pressure is on, I think sort of trying to just go back to you're doing this because you love it, and I think that helps me deal with it pretty well.
You mentioned old ads. I think I had a chat with, I think it was Neil Timmers, and you play with him for old ads. And one of the things I always think about when it comes to club cricket is the value that guys like you bring to the other guys. Like in this instance, like Timmers, he would have learned a lot just by being around you because he is trying to make it as a professional, and here you are, a professional for years now, and you are in that space. What are some of the things that you do to help these aspiring guys, with whether it's a word of advice, whatever it is, how do you help them to sort of keep on track and not get sidetracked?
To be honest, I think that's something that's within each player. It's not really my job to go to back to club cricket at old age and keep the youngsters in line or whatever. I think we have such a special environment at old age that it allows all players, the pros coming back or school kids coming through the system, the club system into the first team at Eds. The space is really, it's such a good environment where it just allows everyone to be themselves. And I think that's helped a lot of young guys come through that club and be successful. And it's still happening at the moment. As you say, Tim has actually made his debut for the Lions a couple of weeks ago. And that's just, I would say, my role in that space is to firstly, I think it's quite important that I go back and play. It's a club that helped my development right through my school years, and I've been playing at Old Age since I was 13. And I got some good friends who still play there. So for me, going back there is definitely not like a burden to go play a club match. It's something I really, really love doing. And when I'm in that space, I just try again, set an example through my actions. I'm not like a massive speaker or anything. So if I can, lead the team well in my own space and put performances out there for the guys to see, I think that speaks enough for the younger guys to say, okay, well, we just need to keep scoring runs and being ourselves, and our chances will come. And that's what's kind of happening at the moment for these youngsters, and it's good to see.
Mm, that's very good. But you are at old ads and get dismissed by someone with no ambition to play professional. Given up on the dream. 45-year-old man. He is playing for the opposition and he dismisses you. What's your reaction?
No, to be honest, at club cricket, pretty chilled. Um, yeah, like I say, it's a lot of fun for me to go back and play for old heads. But yeah, you speak about that. It's when I mean, it's not just me who goes to play club cricket. A lot of pros or whatever will go down and play club cricket, and as soon as an opposition sees that, you are the only person they want to get out. So, sometimes playing a club game can be more tough than playing a professional game. Yeah, obviously the conditions are very different. The bowling is slower. Well, it comes with its own challenges. So, yeah, it can be quite tricky sometimes.
Yeah. Um, let's. I would like to look at bowlers whom you face. Whom would you say are the most difficult ones? The ones who have given you a hard time?
My mind will go straight to probably Rashid Khan. Um, yeah, one of the top T20 bowlers in the world. Hadn't really faced anyone who bowls leg spin that quickly with the subtle variations that he has. He's got me out twice now in the SA20, and just a really tricky guy to face. He bowls pretty quickly, and he's quite tough to pick, and very accurate. So yeah, I'd say he's definitely up there at the top of the list.
Mm. Yeah, he's a good one. And then we've had him with me and a few friends on the other platform where we do stuff. We had him for years as the number one T20 bowler in the world. And well, he's no longer quite that now, but he's very good. Um, when we look at the Lions, who are your favorite betting partners? Someone who just gets the best out of you in the middle.
I think first I'll definitely have to mention Dom Hendricks, um, the 4-day captain. Yeah, I think Dom's been has really been good for me in my journey. As as soon as I came back to the Lions, still back on loan, and he's really been someone who's calmed me down quite a lot. And you know, every time I bat with Dom, I'm very clear on what he's thinking, what I'm thinking, what I need to think rather. And he's just he's got the experience, and he sees the game really well, and we've shared a lot of good partnerships together. So I would definitely have to put him definitely up at the top. Yeah, we've made a lot of good partnerships together, and he's somebody that I really enjoy batting with. Um, and then yeah, I guess most of the guys. I mean, there's nobody who I'd say that I don't want to bat with. I think I get on pretty well with everyone. I just I thought I have to mention Dom there because he's been pretty instrumental for me. And then I enjoy batting with a lot of the guys. Reza is a good one. He's just like so chilled and quiet, and he just lets his bat do the talking. So he's quite fun to bat with as well.
And we go back to your former franchise, the Royals. They had quite a side. Whom did you enjoy betting with there?
Uh, my best was definitely Dave Miller. Davey and I, we batted well together on a few occasions. We had some solid partnerships together. Again, somebody who takes pressure off me, and that always makes things more fun because it makes things a bit easier. Obviously he strikes a ball insanely. So, and he's he always helps me with the way I'm thinking out there, keeps me calm, um, and makes things very clear for me. And yeah, he's obviously not a bad batsman. So yeah, he's taking pressure off from one side, um, which yeah made my life easier. And yeah, Davey was also somebody looked up to as a youngster coming through. So it was firstly amazing to play with him and to play under him, and then to have the opportunity to put on a few partnerships together. Yeah, that was pretty special for me.
I wanted, so let's, I want to pursue Julian Lillard. What is it about him that makes you gravitate towards him? What is it about Lillard that you like so much?
Yeah, he's I'm not sure how many people really know like his story, but he's a bit of an underdog. When he was coming through the school or college system or whatever, he was never the first guy on the team sheet or on the scouts sheets or whatever. And he had to sort of prove himself, and I think just his mentality. He believed that he was always going to do that, and he would always prove people wrong by the the performances that he puts out. And yeah, that's something I really enjoy about him. I guess in a couple in a roundabout way, I can sort of relate to that as well. So I enjoy his mentality about that he's going to prove to himself that he's good enough, and he's done that. He's one of the best players in the world. So that's something I really enjoyed about him, and I also like his loyalty. I know in recent years he moved teams, but for the majority of his career, he stayed at a team that was not very successful, and would always just speak about the fact that that's the team that chose him when he was a youngster, so he's gonna choose them and give everything that he can for that franchise, and that and the people involved. He's just a very loyal guy. So yeah, there's a few just character traits about him that I really like, and just watching him play. I enjoy watching a bit of NBA highlights every now and again, and I really enjoy the way he plays. So yeah, I think he's a really cool guy.
Mm. I didn't know that, and I like to fish out stories like this because they they say a lot about people, and that would, you see, having a mindset like that loyalty, and then you have to participate in a league that has auctions every now and then. It sort of takes you off balance, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess yeah. In our space, it's quite difficult, especially in the SA20 space. I think maybe it's a bit different in the franchise scene where you contracted for the year or whatever. But yeah, the SA20 and the leagues and stuff around the world, I think it's pretty unpredictable. So it's quite
Mm.
difficult to you never know what's going to happen with your own. You could get released, you could get retained, bought again, whatever it is. So yeah, I think when I speak about Damian Lillard, his loyalty, I wouldn't say necessarily to a team. Yes, he was very loyal to his team, but I think to people, loyal to people who showed faith in him and trust in him, and people in an environment that he, you know, grew up in, and or not grew up in, but when came into as a youngster, and who showed faith in him, for him to return a favor and be loyal to those people close to him. I think that's something that probably. probably sticks out for me about him.
And when you put it like that, it sort of also speaks to I I would assume, just listening to you now, this is one of the things that keeps you grounded because you know your support system that's been there for you since the beginning. You you look at them, you in your own way, you give back to them and you keep them close, and they are the ones who helps you to keep grounded and focused. They give you perspective.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And for me, that would be my family and my close friends that I've grown up with and that I'm still tight with. Teammates will come and go, and players, different people that you play with, different staff that you work with. That might come and go throughout a career. And my family's always been there for me since I was that young kid with dreams. And they're still the first people to come and watch me play. And if it's not a good day, the first ones there to be there for me. And they're the ones that have always been there for me. So gives me, a bit of a bigger purpose for my as to why I'm playing. I changed a number on the back of my shirt this season. It's my mom's birthday, so again, yeah, just like something bigger than me, and I'm not just doing it for me. There's people in my corner um, who've always been there for me, and yeah, it puts things into a bit of perspective when things can be tough or when things are going well. To try and stay consistent and loyal to those people that have always been there for you.
Mhm. I really like that. You mentioned that you changed your number to your mom's birthday for this season. Before that, what was the number and what was the story behind it, if there is a story?
Oh, yeah, there was my favorite cricketer ever growing up and stuff was Michael Clark, the Australian captain, Michael Clark. He played in number 23, so I chose a number 23 and played in that until this season, really. This is the first time I've changed numbers, so yeah, that was the reason behind the old one. And yeah, like I say, change of number for this is now, it's got my mom's birthday there, so she's someone that I really look up to, and yeah, she's probably my 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 idol. I want to be like my mom, so it's cool to have her birthday on the back of my shirt, just to as a reminder that she's always going to be there for me, and she always has been. And I'm not just doing it for me, but for a support system that has given me the opportunity to live my dream.
What do you do away from cricket? You're not playing. What are you doing? Do you Okay, this is a multi-pronged. Do you watch cricket when you're not playing? Are you one of those guys who watches or the ones that says, I want my time off from the game? What are you
Nah,
doing?
yeah, I've never been like that. I've always loved watching cricket. So, time away from the game, probably still be watching the game. I don't know. It's just me. I enjoy watching cricket. I enjoy watching old cricket highlights of old Test matches, live cricket. I'm never really too far away from the game, to be honest. But yeah, I'd say my favorite thing to do away from playing cricket is definitely playing golf. I spend a lot of time on the golf course. It's a nice, it obviously takes the whole day, so it's a nice way to get away from things. And I guess it's probably not great to always be thinking about cricket. So for those couple hours on the golf course, because I'm quite a competitive guy, my mind is fully focused on the golf, and maybe that's a nice break away from cricket for me. And it's something that I really love doing. I could play golf every day. So yeah, I think that's definitely that. This definitely is my favorite thing to do away from the game.
One of the most difficult things for you guys is you're playing in an era where there is so much. You know, I think someone said you guys are in a fishbowl, fish tank type of vibe. Yeah, everyone is looking. Unlike the guys who came before, they could have time away, they could whatever, whatever. But now, it's not just the fish tank, it's also everyone has an who has an opinion about you, goes on social media and they say what they want. How do you deal with that? Do you look at it? Do you never pay attention to it? What is your approach to your social media?
Yeah, I mean, um, I post and I share updates about things happening on my side, but yeah, don't really get get involved with outside of people who have opinions. I think it's pretty funny at times, to be honest. Whatever they're saying, because yeah, I mean I mean it's an obvious thing to say, but they have, they don't really have an idea of what's going on with you and with the people around you, and even with your coaches and your teammates, your environment that you're in. They don't have a clue whatsoever. So what they say doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. So yeah, to be honest, I certainly don't go and look for comments or whatever. If I come across it, maybe it's a good laugh, but yeah, I don't think it's something that, maybe, I guess, maybe if I, one day um achieve a dream of mine to play for the Proteas, I think maybe the spotlight is a bit more intense there on the international stage. Might be more critics, more people saying stuff, but yeah, I would say for where I am now and what I've gone through so far in my career, it's not been something that's really phased me, to be honest.
Mm. Are you a stats person when you're looking at your game, that is? Do you look at the stats and say, this is not good enough, or this is good enough, or whatever? Or are you one of those guys who says, you know what, as long as I'm doing a job and I'm helping the team achieve results, the stats shouldn't really matter because at the end of the day, they don't come with an asterisk that says this was a match winning 30.
Yeah, um, yeah. I guess my nature has always been to play, to do in every situation of a cricket match, to do what the team requires. That's just always been the way I am since I was a youngster. And that's something that won't change. I don't like losing. I really don't like losing. So whatever opportunity I can have to impact a game and win the game for my team is what I'll do. I don't think any cricketer does not pay attention to their stats. So yeah, of course I have a look every now and again. It's nice to see, you know, if you're doing well and playing well and, contributing to the team, your stats will take care of themselves. So things aren't going well, it's not a place you want to be really looking at those. So yeah, I wouldn't say I get consumed a lot by it. I think I'm aware of it. I've had a look. I know how they look. But yeah, when I step onto a cricket field, everything I do is to try and help my team win a cricket match.
Mm. Um, One of the things I'm also interested in is how do you, okay, it's two of them. The first one is how do you switch on and off? Because when you're out on the field, I cannot imagine you being switched on all of the time. And because it just drains, it's draining for me. And the second one, okay, let's deal with that one first. How do you switch on and off when you're out in the middle?
I guess you got to have a way of doing that in between balls, right? When the bowler's running into a bowl, you need to obviously be fully focused and fully switched on. Um, and then after the ball happens, you know, that ball's done, and you got to now reset for the next one. And I think I'm somebody who tries to, you know, I don't want to be too serious when I'm batting. I like to have fun. Obviously, serious about the work that I need to get done, but you know, I try have some fun with my partner. You know, maybe try have a laugh in between balls with them, and sometimes just even have a look around the stadium. Um, Look for whoever, just see who's there, and then obviously when the bowler's at the top of his mark, it's back to full focus mode. But yeah, as you said, you can't sort of just be in one zone the whole time. You know, that's not possible. So yeah, for me personally, I like to try have a laugh, have some fun in between balls, and then back on it when the bowler's running in.
Do you have routines that you follow before a match? Like, what are you? What is your routine if there is one before you go out there? If there's none, why isn't there?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's much. I think there's maybe small things like I do enjoy going and hitting a few balls up in the nets, but I mean if I don't go and hit balls, it's not the end of the world. So there's nothing like set in stone that I have to get done before every game. I'd say the main thing is to just try and be there early. Once I'm in the environment of where the game's gonna happen, you know, in the change room and around some of the teammates and whatever, I think that calms me down. Or just gets me excited to play and go and share the field with these guys. So yeah, nothing specific. I think every match is different, or I'm feeling different. So I might do things that I feel like doing. Maybe some days I don't feel like doing anything in the warm up, like just chilling, and that's fine. I'll take it easy. Some days I want to take 50 catches or hit some balls. So whatever I'm feeling on the day, that's gonna make me sort of ready and excited to go. And then I'll do that.
Brilliant. And with that, Mitch, thank you very much for joining me. I got some insights, got to learn a bit more about you as a cricketer and as a person. And I really appreciate that.
Absolute pleasure, CS. Thank you for having me. Sorry again that it took a couple weeks, but yeah, I'm glad we could get that done, and it was cool to be on the show. So thanks for having me, man. It was cool to happy to share, you know, my experiences with you.